Hello, and welcome to something just a little bit different. Today's video, well, we're not going to be getting on to the game itself. In today's video, I am just going to be reading. Though, to be fair, I do that quite a bit. But I thought, before we continue playing this amazing mod with so much lore, we should look into the background this mod has created for us. So I thought we'd start with Equus, and before the lunar banishment. According to legend, 3 tribes of unicorns, Pegasi and Earth ponies, flee their frozen Wendigo-infested homeland and migrate south to a new fertile land. However, the tribes come into conflict and attract the Wendigos to them, endangering their new home. Only after tribes make peace do the Wendigos leave and the snows melt. The tribes unite and form Equestria. The event is celebrated each year during a hearth-warming eve. Many years later, 2 Alicorn sisters, Celestia and Luna, are crowned as the rulers of Equestria. The country slowly expands over time and absorbs other pony nations around it. 6 great heroes, the pillars of Equestria, arise to defend all ponies from threats. The seed for the Tree of Harmony is planted by the pillars of Equestria. The pillars then mysteriously vanish. By the way, quite a bit of this early stuff is straight up, this is all canon to the actual TV show. A chaos spirit called Discord wreaks havoc in Equestria. Celestia and Luna take the elements of harmony from the tree and lose them to imprison him in stone. Snow? No, I think it's stone, not snow. Snow wouldn't be keeping him very well. Unknown to the two, Discord discards a seed which would strangle the Tree of Harmony over time. King Sombra of the Crystal Empire is banished by Celestia and Luna. Sombra's curse makes the Empire vanish for 1,000 years, and a centaur named Lord Tyrek plans to steal the magic of ponies with his gargoyle brother Scorpan, but the latter befriends the pony and reveals his plan to the princess. Tyrek is imprisoned in Tartarus. All of this straight up canon to the actual TV show. Nothing here is new lore yet. Land of the Deer, Alenia, consists of several petty kingdoms, with the largest one centered around major trade ports. Into BLB, or below before lunar banishment, Alenia is united under King Harold Fairantlers of Hjordland. This country is literally not a thing in the show. That just doesn't exist. Completely made up for the mod. Princess Luna becomes jealous of her older sibling and is corrupted. She becomes Nightmare Moon and attacks Celestia, who has no option but to use the elements of harmony to banish her into the moon for 1,000 years. Of course, the lunar banishment is canon to the show. It's kind of the whole point of the beginning. After Nightmare Moon's coup attempt, angry mobs of ponies lose trust in Thrustrals, bat ponies, and drive them out of cities and villages into carnivorous homes. The divide between the two groups is never truly healed, despite Princess Celestia's efforts. I mean, this part's canon, but this part's not really. Deer from Alenia raid Equestria for the last time. Afterwards, ponies and deer make peace by signing an official treaty of friendship. The lack of raiding targets due to the treaty upsets a portion of nobility and the warrior middle class. A Huskarl named Hof Derrickson That's a historical reference. That's a real, not quite that, because I think they changed the first part to be a joke. But that's a historical reference. I'm 99% sure. That's like a Viking. Gathers a host of dissatisfied nobles and interpret peasants from Alenia, and sails west to try a new land to settle and rule. And this new land is Osterland. Oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense. Gunpowder is invented by... this is around 200 ALB, after lunar banishment. Gunpowder is invented by equestrian alchemists, but is used exclusively in fireworks and for other non-military purposes. Later, the invention spreads to Graphonia, where it is weaponized for the first time. Of course, Equestria refuses to actually use it for military. Sounds about right. Meanderly Pool, an equestrian explorer, journeys across Griffonia to meet a legendary lost pony tribe. She discovers Lake City, meets Prince Blossom, and re-establishes communication between the western and eastern ponies. So here's the first kind of uniting between the ponies of the east of Griffonia and the west there. Columbus. This one I just know is a historical reference. Really, Columbus, Columbus. Haha, very funny. Founds a new colony in southwest Griffonia called New Maryland. The land is sparsely inhabited by griffins and infested with monsters. There's great opportunity for trade with the eastern griffin realms. First pony settlers from Equestria arrive. New Maryland settlers from the Duke of the Duchy of Toulouse sign an official treaty where the land in what is today Hoofsplain is ceded to New Maryland in exchange for a large amount of bits. The two parties agree on a border which remains the border between New Maryland and Toulouse. And then in 783 ALB, Nova Griffonia is founded on northeastern Equus by the Griffonian Empire. It consists of various culturally diverse griffin settlements along the coast which are for the first time united. Soon after, first inland expedition begins, marking the start of Nova Griffonian expansion, and the melting pot culture of the colony forms. What I find so interesting about this world is there's not a lot of colonization between the three continents, but two of the continents, there's a colony from the major power in the other one. So neither side is like the weaker continent. Both sides have straight up colonized the other, which is so interesting. Following in 795 ALB, following a prolonged succession crisis, the boyars of Servilia evict Princess Celestia of Equestria as the Tsar land of Severina, which it's Stalingrad, and of course the communists started in Russia, so they kind of made a reference of the Tsar, of the Tsarina, which is just a female word for Tsar. In 810 ALB, Jamwet invents the steam engine in Equestria. Eventually, it is adopted in factories in Manhattan, Canterlot, Philadelphia, and Vancouver and Los Angeles. In 850 ALB, Cuddy Stuffy builds a prototype steam locomotive. Her design is developed and improved, and soon trains become widely used for transportation in Equestria. 860 through 940 ALB. Gradually, the Industrial Revolution takes place in Equestria. The old cities of Manhattan, Canterlot, Bales, Vancouver, Philadelphia, Las Pegasus grow rapidly. By the way, so many references with the city names. Grow rapidly, and new industrial cities appear such as Albion, Winneapolis, Baltimore, Talltale, Rockville, Patershuf, and Princeling. From time to time, small strikes and riots of workers, peasants, and traders occur as they protest the rapid change of society. In 944 ALB, Karl Marx, an equestrian unicorn, and her friend Fire Angel write the program for an underground organization, Union of Struggle for Justice, which later becomes popular worldwide, Social Justice Party Manifesto. In the following years, branches of the Union appear in various parts of Equestria. The ideas of Marxism are publicized both in Equestria and abroad. In 952 ALB, Olenia begins to industrialize. Many factories and companies are quickly founded during this time. In 960 ALB, a company called Lokia is founded in Olenia. Decades later, they become renowned across the world for their reliable and nigh unbreakable radios and other electronic devices. In 962 ALB, King Aldar II of Olenia officially suspends the religious office of Alsher Jargo, which is actually something you can put back in power in Olenia under the fascist path. In 974 ALB, under growing popular support for autonomy, the Equestrian government granted dominion status to the southern island of Porto Cabello. Palmares is sworn in as an island's first president, which is actually a fairly new addition to the mod. That wasn't even in it until the new continent was added. In 978 ALB, Flower Cocktail is elected to Porto Cabello's second president. She serves for 2 terms. In 980 ALB, Steel Stallion begins to spread the word of Caramel Mark's new radical ideology in the Sovereigna region. In 982 ALB, Queen Chrysalis of Vasopolis unites the various changeling hives into a single nation. The Changing Lands, of course. 990 ALB, Quasadeli is sworn in as Puerto Cabello's 4th president. He gets known as a dictator and causes a large degree of suffering under his rule. In 991 ALB, after a dry summer and a harsh winter caused by mismanagement of weather by Pegasi, the Severinana, I'm saying that wrong a different way every time, but region in Equestria experiences supply shortages. Southern regions are reluctant to share, and few traders who arrive establish a price rate nearly impossible to meet for an average citizen. Around 990 ALB, a Pegasus filly named Rainbow Dash. Oh, we're getting close to actually canon stuff in show again. Creates the sonic rain boom, linking the destinies of 6 ponies who would become the elements of harmony. A unicorn foal named Twilight Sparkle experiences a massive magical surge, drawing the attention of Celestia and becomes her personal student. More actually canon to show stuff right here. We instantly leave the canonicity of the show, with a large revolt starts in Severina, which declares its independence from Equestria. This supreme Soviet is established with 3 ponies, Vasily, Sinister, and Atidia, as its leading members. The new state adopts Caramel Marx's ideology as their own. Shortly afterwards, Steel Stallion dies of illness, and the capital of the region, Princessing, is renamed to Stalingrad in his honor. Stalingrad. In 996 ALB, Stalingrad successfully wins the Winter Revolution after Princess Celestia recalls the military from Stalingrad, citing that she did not wish for unnecessary deaths of pony, and fires her current captain the guard for authorizing military action against the city without her approval. In 997 AOB, Shining Armor, brother of Twilight Sparkles, is promoted to Equestria's captain of the guard. The mod makes a reason for Shining Armor to become the new captain of the guard, where the show just says he's the captain of the guard. You don't need to know how I got there. That's actually kind of cool. 1000 ALB, Nightmare Moon returns from her exiles, prophecy foretold. However, Twilight Sparkle and her new friends become the physical forms of the elements of harmony, remove her corruption and turn her back into Luna. She reunites with her sister in Equestria, becomes a diarchy once more. Another piece of canon lore to the story. A military coup in Puerto Cabello, led by Sergeant Bacchio Buscatra, topples the government of President Cosadilla. Starlight Glimmer founds our town, a radical commune near Stalingrad, where everyone is made perfectly equal with magic. Besides the part near Stalingrad, this is actually canon as well to the show. In 1001 ALB, a short conflict nicknamed the Apple War erupts between Appaloosa's settlers and the Buffalo Chieftains after a land dispute, but soon the two sides end up signing peace and a trade agreement. This is, strangely enough, also kind of canon to the show. I don't remember if it's called the Apple War, and I don't think they were ever called an independent nation of the Buffalo Chieftain, but there was an episode about Appaloosan settlers tangling with the Buffalo Chieftain, and then making a peace treaty and making a trade agreement. Like, that actually does happen. Discord breaks out of his stone, but is imprisoned again by the Wielders of Harmony. Of the Elements, another canon piece of info. King Eldor II of Alenia dies under suspicious circumstances. His illegitimate son, Johann, quickly seizes the throne with the help of religious leaders, corrupt business dear, and greedy nobles. Princess Velvet, the rightful heir, flees to Equestria. Obviously not canon, as I said, Alenia doesn't even exist. Lord Tyrek escapes from his imprisonment in Tartarus in 1002. This is also canon. Queen Chrysalis of Changing Lands infiltrates Caterlot with her swarm and attempts to take over Equestria during a royal wedding, but they are defeated by Alicorn Princess Candace in Shining Armor. The wedding proceeds afterward, and the two get married. Back in the Changing Land, Chrysalis' empire falls apart due to her failure. She begins to reunite her shattered realm while plotting revenge. This is actually also canon to the show itself. The Crystal Empire returns as the curse is lifted, and so does King Sombra. However, with the help of the Wielders of Harmony, the Crystal Heart is returned to its place, and Sombra is shattered and imprisoned in Limbo. Princess Cadis and Shining Armor of Equestria become the rulers of Crystal Empire. This is also canon to the show. 1002 is a very canon year. Discord is released, reformed, and becomes more benevolent. He, however, is rarely interested in solving Equestria's problem. Also canon, Twilight Sparkle, the wielder of Element of Magic, and Protege Celestia is elevated to Alcorn. Okay, this is all canon. 1002 is just another canon year. Not many of those, but there's one. Twilight and the other element wielders discover the Tree of Harmony, which is strangled by Discord's weeds. They remove the cursed plants and restore the tree. Also canon. Internal disputes within Stalingrad lead to political deadlock as Troche, with Vasily and Sinister on one side and Antildia on the other, begin to rival each other. The Equestria Games are held in Crystal Empire with Nova Griffonian participating and envoys from Saddle Arabia spectating. The Duke and Duchess of Meritonia, this is as well, meeting with Celestia and Luna. This is canon besides the Nova Griffonian part. Yes, even the Saddle Arabia part's canon. The Saddle Arabia is actually a legitimate foreign nation that they talk about in the show. We do have the Duke and Duchess of Meritonia visit to meet Celestia and Luna, and also Twilight Sparkles gets sad that she just is told to wave at them as they walk by, and that's her entire time there. But yes, the Equestria Games are also completely canon to the show. Those did happen. T-Rex manages to gain the support of Discord, and with his aid steals the magic of all Equestrian ponies, including the princesses. However, the wielders of the elements gain powers from the Tree of Harmony that allow them to defeat T-Rex and return him to Tartarus. Discord repents and is forgiven. As a consequence of this, Twilight Sparkle becomes the Princess of Friendship. Also canon. Completely canon to the show. The wielders of the elements discovered Starlight's commune and saved the inhabitants from misery by giving them their talent marks back and exposing Starlight Glimmer as a liar who never removed her own mark. Therefore, being more equal than the others, Starlight manages to escape and plans her revenge. The inhabitants of the town abandoned Starlight's ideology. Also completely canon. Yakistan ends this long isolation, and Prince Rutherford goes on a diplomatic visit to Equestria. A diplomatic crisis is resolved by Pinkie Pie, who earns the friendship of the Yak leader. Also canon to the show, strangely enough. Oh, shoot. There we go. But yes, Yakistan is also canon to the show. Quite a few things are... This is the most canon part of the show, the Equus part of the realm. The rest of it gets a lot more questionable in its canonicity. In 1004, ALB, Starlight Glimmer returns for revenge and uses secret time travel magic to change the fates of the wielders of the elements by ensuring the Sonic Rainbow never occurs. Twilight manages to show her devastating post-apocalyptic consequences of Equestria, filled with total war, tyranny, bloodshed, and ruin. She persuades her to abandon her plans for revenge and embrace harmony. History is repaired, Equestria returns to normal, and Starlight becomes Twilight's personal student. This is also canon. Yes, including the filled with total war, tyranny, bloodshed, and ruin. That's also canon. This is actually one of the episodes. This is actually like the only episode that has like straight up like Equestria goes to war with Sombra after they are not there to help in that timeline, because they show off the different timelines of different villains winning, and the last one is just complete. The world's gone, and she's that, and that's what Starlight Glimmer, believe that doesn't make her stop. They give really BS reason for all her evil, and really made it easy for her to be able to be brought back. I love that episode. It's actually one of my favorites, but man, they did Starlight Glimmer's redemption dirty. Like, I love her as a character. I loved her before she was good. I loved her as a good character. Like, she was great as evil and good. But her but her redemption was so BS. There wasn't even an arc. Like they need to shows need to remember, when you're doing a redemption arc, you need an arc, not just redemption. And it's a big problem for many shows out there, not just shows that are seen as kiddie like My Little Pony. And that's, now there are times where they do a bit better with that, but that's definitely not one of them. Like Trixie is a pretty good example of a good redemption arc. That one I quite enjoyed. But she wasn't a major villain. She was more of a minor annoyance. But she got a good one. But anyways, getting back to the mod. Flurry Heart is born in the Crystal Empire. She's the daughter of Princess Celestia, and this is the first alicorn to be born in over 1,000 years. This is canon, except the first alicorn to be born in over 1,000 years. Actually, from what we know, she's the only alicorn born ever. The rest are like artificially made, kinda. Like even the two princesses, Luna and Celestia, are shocked that she was able to be born an alicorn in the episodes. So it really shows that this is a very strange thing that isn't expected at all. Ember succeeds her father Torch and becomes the next Dragon Lord of the Dragon Tribe with the help of Spike, Twilight, and Rarity. She forms good relations with Equestria in return. This is canon as well, though the Dragon Tribe being a separate nation is never mentioned, whether it is or is not. But besides that, canon. It was so close to being completely canon, but Podsa Cocktail, son of ex-president Flower Cocktail, is elected as the 7th official president, 14th, including acting and interim presidents of Puerto Calaballo. He is the first democratically elected president since the fall of the Quasadilla government. Pinkie Pie is appointed ambassador to the Yaks in 205, and leads a relief effort to assist Yakistan after an avalanche devastated their capital of Yakistown. That's canon, as that is completely canon to the show. Twilight Sparkle discovers the pillars of Equestria locked away in limbo and frees them. The pillars set out to assist this strange new world. Also completely canon. The Tree of Harmony sends the wielders of the elements to Mount Ares, the home of Hippogriffia, to solve a friendship problem. However, they discover the entire population has been transformed into sea ponies and fled underwater to hide from the Storm King. They try to convince them to stop hiding and learn that the Storm King is preparing to invade Equestria. Twilight panics and tries to seal the magical transformation pearl, and as a result, the ponies are banished. Temporarily abandoned by her friends, Twilight is captured by the Storm King's second-in-command, Tempest Shadow, who brings her to his master and expects him to fix her broken horn as a result. When the Storm King refuses, he reveals he no longer has any use for her and tries to kill her, but is saved by Twilight. At the same time, the Hippogriffs arrive to the rescue, finally coming out of hiding thanks to Twilight's friends. In the ensuing battle, Tempest turns Storm King to stone with his own magic staff, and the Storm King's army is largely destroyed. Equestria is saved. This is 100% completely canon. I know that seems like a lot, and a lot of random stuff going on, but this is actually the movie, well, one of the movies that My Little Pony had made during its time, and it's movie canon. There's nothing in the show that makes it not canon to the show as well, but, you know. Princess Twilight founds the Ponyville School of Friendship in the hope of spreading values of harmony across the world. Notably, foreign students from the United Dragonlands, Yakistan, and Griffinstone attend. This is completely canon, yes, including Griffinstone. In fact, Griffinstone is talked about as a different nation. They're actually seen as like a faraway nation, but in the show, it's kind of like the only Griffin place we ever hear about is Griffinstone. And in the game, obviously Griffinstone is like a wasteland nothing, which actually is fairly canon to the show, but there's no empire of griffins. There's just this little Griffinstone. In fact, even the little thing, the boar statue being missing, that's canon to the show as well, actually. The EEA, Equestria Education Association, shuts down the school after the teachers and students failed to follow their strict guidelines and rules. Twilight the Sword Celestia reopens the school as an independent institution. However, the foreign students have gone missing, and the national leaders blame each other until the students are found. It turns out they were simply enjoying a secret trip together as friends at the castle of the Two Sisters in the Everfree Forest. Strangely enough, completely canon. Yes, including the Equestria Education Association. Completely canon. And once again, the thing to mess up the completely canonicity of a year is Porta Calabala. Begay's Colstro and 122 supporters attempt to start a socialist revolution in Porta Calabala by attacking the Royal Guard barracks in Luna de Castatella. The attempt fails and he is sentenced to 3 years in prison. In 1006 ALB, Queen Chrysalis of Vesispolis finishes reuniting the Crystal Hive into a single nation. She begins to prepare a large-scale military invasion of Equestria. 2 element bears, Applejack and Fluttershy, convince the Kieran to abandon their vow of silence. This is canon as well. I know, Kierans are canon. Way over there, recently added, don't have any content, but yes, they're canon, which is part of why I'm legitimately excited to see what they do with them, since they're one of the few canon things that have no content still, besides Griffinstone, which I don't think they'll ever add content to Griffinstone at this rate. Even though it's a canon part of the show, I feel like every part that's straight up canon should at least have some content, because it's like, you're bringing the show into the game, might as well do something with it. A student of the School of Friendship, Cozy Glow, cooperates with Lord T-Rex and attempts to use magical artifacts to drain all the magic in the world. She uses deceit to become the head mayor of the School of Friendship and traps the element bears and Tartarus. Planning to ultimately become the Empress of Friendship, Princess Celestia prepares a military intervention, but Cozy Glow's plans are foiled by other students, and she is imprisoned by Tartarus. Canon once again. After multiple narrowly averted coups, invasions, and magical disasters, ponies demand more protection. Celestia commissions a committee led by Dotted Line to perform a detailed analysis of potential threats and adequacy of current responses. Some Yaks of the Yak Council in the Kingdom of Yak-Yakistan disagree with Prince Rutherford's equestrian line policies and join his brother, Prince Bradford, instead, who promises to preserve the Yak way of life. And then the game Equestria War begins. And that is the lore of Equus. That is the entirety of the background lore of the Equus continent, and all you will need to know to be able to fully understand and put your mind within the game itself. I hope you enjoyed just hearing all the lore, and I'm sure I'll be doing this a few more to talk about the other continents in this world. But if you enjoyed and want to see more lore explanations, gameplay, and anything of that sort, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button. And as always, peace.